Okay, here's the thing. We started out friends. It was cool. We was all pretend. Yeah, yeah. Ooh. Since you've been gone. Kelly Clarkson, classic jam.
3, 2, 1, bro.
What's up, everybody? My name is Nick Murphy. I'm one half of the Brothers Murph, and this is What's on That Shelf? Now, you're used to seeing Mike doing this, but I want to talk about games too sometimes, okay? I kicked his ass out. I don't care. He knows it. He's done. Just Nick. I'm going to talk about this shelf right here. Pew! Bam! This shelf right here is a good shelf. It's a great shelf. Let's start over here. Boom! With the Prodigals Club. The Prodigals Club is a great game. It's by CGE Games and Vladimir Suchi. This is a game that is a sequel of sorts to another game called Last Will. It has the same theme set in the same kind of universe. Essentially, Last Will was a game where you had a very rich uncle. It was essentially Brewster's Millions, the board game. You had a very rich uncle, and that uncle died. And then you and all the other players are essentially his nieces and nephews, and you are trying to be the poorest person to get your uncle's inheritance. So the whole game, you're just hemorrhaging money, you're going on boat trips and bringing your horse, and you're doing anything you can to hemorrhage money so that at the end of the game, you're the poorest person, and if you're the poorest, you win the game. The Prodigals Club is a sequel to that. There is that part of Last Will in here where you're trying to hemorrhage all your money, but then they up the stakes a little bit. Because in the Prodigals Club, you also want to piss off and alienate all your friends, and you want to lose an election. So it takes the theme from Last Will and just makes it even crazier. So now you're losing all your money, you're losing all your friends, and you're losing an election, and it is awesome. It also cleaned up some of the fiddlier bits of Last Will. Last Will had some parts that just like rules that were just not very streamlined, not very good, and just kind of bogged the game down a little bit. This cleaned up all that, added some more new stuff, and oh, it is mwah. If you like Euro games with a heck of a lot of theme, this bad boy is for you. I love you. Let's go on. Next we have what I presume will be Mike's #1 game this year when we do our top 10. We have Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars is a very, very popular game. If you've been around board gaming at all, you know, at least have heard about this game if you haven't played it. Terraforming Mars is an engine building game. You are, coincidentally, terraforming Mars. So, the whole game, you are essentially playing cards. You're buying cards and then playing. And the cards do all sorts of different things. But you are like, you know, building buildings, or like nuking part of the planet, or like you're playing a card, so now you have algae, and all these different things give you usually different kind of resources. Like you get steel, or you get titanium, or you get energy, or you get heat, and you're essentially trying to make the planet habitable for people. So at the game, you're having 3 global parameters that you're trying to meet. You're trying to get the oxygen up to 14%, I believe. You're trying to get the heat up to 24 degrees Celsius? No, that's too high. That's way too high. 8 degrees Celsius, I think is actually what it is. And then you're trying to put out 9 ocean tiles. Once you do that, the game is done. It's a really great game. It's a game that ultimately is pretty simple. Like, there's a whole bunch of different cards that do a whole bunch of different things, but ultimately they all work in pretty much the exact same way. But it's really nice because in this game, there's a whole bunch of different strategies you can go for. I mean, really, they're, as far as I know, they're pretty endless. You can really try anything you want. There's so many different paths to victories. You never know what cards you're going to get, so you really have to work out what you're going to do based off what cards you get and what everyone else is doing. And it's just, man, this is a game that we just did not really want to play because we're like, it can't be that good. There's no way the game is that good. Everyone loves it so much. Lame. And man, we finally played it, and we played it once, and both of us were just like, damn, that's pretty good. That was pretty good. I have a hunch it's going to be Mike's favorite game of all time this year. And honestly, it's probably going to, I'm almost guaranteeing it's my top 5. It might break the top 3. This game is really, really good. Terraforming Mars, if you haven't tried it, Don't get into that hipster, ooh, give it worth the hype stuff. Try it. It's so good. Oh, love it. Who cares about that game? Because we're talking about this game. Champions of Midgard. Champions of Midgard is a game by Grey Fox Games, and it is a wonderful, wonderful game about Vikings. It has our favorite mechanic. If you know us at all, you know that our favorite mechanic is worker placement. It is that, but this game also has a lot of other stuff going on, namely dice. There's a lot of dice rolling in this game, which is kind of interesting in a worker placement game, especially a worker placement game where dice aren't the workers. There's a lot of games where your dice are your workers, like Pie Town or I think Kingsburg, I think. I don't really know, but whatever. There are games where the die themselves are your workers. This isn't like that. There's a whole big board, and you're trying to gather different troops, and you're trying to fight monsters to get glory in Valhalla, as most Viking games are about something like that. And so this one, there's a bunch of different troops you can kind of get, and they're represented by die. There's like axemen and spearmen and swordsmen, and there's shield maidens and berserkers and some of the expansions. And this is a game where the base game is really, really great, but the expansions really take it to the next level. Particularly the Valhalla expansion is really, really outstanding. There's a lot of people who say, like, if you're going to get Champions of Midgard, you absolutely have to get the expansions. I don't necessarily think that's true, but I do think if you have the money, get at least Valhalla. Valhalla is an outstanding expansion. So Champions of Midgard is a really, really great Viking worker placement game. It's easy, it's fun, it's just a blast. There's dice rolling. Yeah, I like it a lot. Every time we play it, this is one of those games where I'm like, do I like that game that much? And then we play it, I'm like, yeah, I really do. I really like this game a lot. So Champions of Midgard keeps growing, keeps rising the ranks. Love it. Alrighty then. Last but not least, we have a big old game here. We got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shadows of the Past. So this game is a type of game that we don't have very many of, because it's a type of game that we just can't ever get to the darn table. And that is a one versus all game. One versus all games are tough for us to get to the table because it's usually just me and Mike. And one versus all games aren't great with two people for the most part. And it's funny because we got this game because we sold the different game that we already had. But ironically, we sold another one versus all game to get this game. And the reason why we did that is because we thought this game would hit the table more often, and we were right about that. We got rid of Conan, which is a very big Kickstarter game. They just did a Batman Kickstarter game recently. That's like that same game, but with a different theme. We got that originally, never ever played it, because again, we don't play one versus all games very often. But we got this one with some of the money we got from that game, because we knew that this one has a much better chance of getting to the table because it's a lot lighter, and the theme is a lot more accessible. Conan had a lot of, frankly, really, like, objectifying women kind of art. The theme is kind of like Conan, so if you're not really into that theme, it's like whatever. But, like, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is a much better theme in our opinion, and something that'll get to the table more often. But it's great. One person plays as the bad guys. Could be Shredder. Could be a whole bunch of different people. Old Hob. And then everyone else plays as the Turtles. But it's got a really interesting dice allocation thing, where essentially all the Turtles have dice that they roll. So you roll the die, and you put the die out in a line. So you'll have like 5 die, and you'll put them in a line. But whatever die you place on the very, very right is going to help the turtle to that turtle's right. And then whatever die you put on the very, very left is going to help that turtle to the left. It's going to help them out. So if I'm playing Donatello and Michelangelo is to my right, I place my die, and the very right die I play is a movement die. Michelangelo gets to use that movement die, which is super interesting because it really, really, really helps push a lot of communication about teamwork. Like, hey, what do you need? Like, what does Leonardo need? What does Raphael need? Like, all these different things, and trying to talk it through, and like, really, I like cooperative games with a lot of discussion. And that's what this is. It's a really, really great game. Can't wait to play it more. Campaign game, lots of different missions. Super fun. And I believe they're coming out with a Kickstarter where it's going to make it full co-op mode, which I'm really excited for. Because if we make this full co-op, oh, it's getting played way more often. Love it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So that was what's on that shelf. This shelf right here is empty now. Really great shelf. Prodigals Club, Terraforming Mars, Champions of Midgard, and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Man, that's a cool shelf. I love it. So until next time, might be Mike next time, might be me. We'll see how we're feeling. I will see you later. Have a wonderful Wednesday. And you keep being cool. Keep on Murphing on. Bros Murph, baby. Woo!
Be honest. Do you think you're quick enough and possess the dexterity to snatch a bird out of the air mid-flight? These are the things I wonder about. While you're thinking about that, check out Restoration Games. They sponsor us, and we have information for where to find them and their great games in the description below. That's probably quick enough. Click over here, by the way.